Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters Net podcast. I'm your host Brian. And today I'm actually honored to welcome two very special guests, Christina and Greg, who are part of the vox
Hi.
stix group. How y'all doing?
Hey,
Good, how are
Brian,
you?
how you doing?
Not too bad. And the weather's actually been nice out here. I don't know. Where are you guys hailing from? You guys are all in different
We're
regions because you're not all together, all right?
right, yeah. Well, Greg and I are actually the most together of anybody. We're in New York, so it's been incredibly hot, incredibly humid, and very smoky because of Canada. But yeah, you're right though. We have people. We're 5 out of the 6 of us are Westchester, and then we got one guy in Jersey. So basically the same weather.
It actually did get real smoky down here because I'm from Pittsburgh, and I made the bonehead decision of actually walking out there during one of those days.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, we
there
have
was a lot of
friends
people
in
out,
the
too.
area. Yeah, it was bad though. It was really bad. I mean, it got all the way down to DC at one point. As far as I know, it was like the worst air quality in the world in DC like a week or two ago, I think so. Yeah, we just this is why we just like to stay inside. As much as we can stay inside for anything, we're good.
I'm going to say, harkens back to the old 2020 days when
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that whole thing. So, welcome to my podcast, Christina and Greg. The way my podcast usually works is we like to get to know everybody, both as the musicians, but also as the individuals, too. I did check out a YouTube channel. You guys are actually pretty unique because I did check out a YouTube channel the other night. And
Yeah.
Christina, it seems like you do a little bit of a podcasting with interviewing indie musicians and I guess people who do like standalone projects. I guess when did you start that?
So, Vox and Guest, actually, I think the first episode was June 15th of this year. So it's only been 3 weeks or so, but it feels like so much longer because we do usually 3 interviews a week. They're usually about 2 hours a piece. And, we put out 2 episodes every week on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And so we've already talked to like 12, 13 people, I think, in the last 3 weeks. But it's been great because, with Vox and Stix as a band, we didn't really necessarily expect to get us into the indie music community as we have, but the community is just amazing on Facebook. And
They really are.
they really are. And so, just connecting with all these people and realizing how much incredible music and unsigned talent is out there. I turned to Greg about a month ago and I said, I think we should do an interview show because I think, we need to give these artists more of a voice. And Greg being Greg was like, sure, I can make that happen tech wise as he always does. So it's been cool. It's been cool to have I can't really call it a side project to the band because it's at least as much work as the band, but yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Everybody's just been so cool to talk to. And we're learning a lot and hearing so much good music. You must have a similar experience with all the bands that you interview too and the musicians that you interview.
The musicians normally I interview, they're normally people on YouTube and they're their own drummers. Some of them are in groups, some of them are in like cover groups. Others are just kind of like standalone and just like doing it as a hobby. It was really meant to be more open. And it was actually meant to help me because I'm a pretty bad introvert too. I don't know how bad you guys are introverts or whether you're pretty extroverted in a way. I don't know.
No, really, real introverts, yeah.
Greg talks less than I do, but I'm actually almost as introverted as he is. So people always find that surprising because I talk so much. But I think sometimes introverts talk a lot because we get nervous. So I don't know. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it was a little tough at first, but afterwards I actually did see questions because I did send you like a little script over to you guys. That's kind of, it's meant to help me out because then it's kind of meant to be like, okay, this is where we're at right here, and then let's see what we can do after that.
I forgot about. I probably should have read that more, but yeah, that's okay. I'm good to just chat anyway. So
Well, we'll see what happens right here. But
yeah,
you guys know how it kind of works right here since Christina, I know you've done interviews, but it seems like we always got to do like a beginning, middle, then pretty much whatever goes in the middle right there, and then wrap it up at the end here. But to start off with the beginning right here, I guess let's start off with get to know you guys a little bit more, I guess. How'd you guys get into music, and then how'd you guys meet? So, Christina, if you want to start, and then Greg, you can jump in whenever she's done.
sure. So I have been a musician in one format or another since I was probably about 3 years old, just, running around singing all the time. And I really started to get into harmonies when I was in chorus in fifth grade. It's like a gateway thing for a lot of singers, at least I think. And, was in bands by the time I was about 15. And always cover bands, but, I do write originals. I don't usually put them out, but, at some point maybe I will. So just bands my whole life and just, gigging around New York, New Jersey, pretty much wherever. And so that's how I got into music. Honey, you want to go into how you got into music and then we can get into how we met?
Sure. I mean, I took drum lessons when I was little. I started when I was 9, just elementary school. And then in high school, it was I had a pretty influential high school music teacher. We had a great marching band, concert band. In college, did college drumming in marching band for a couple of years, and then I just, it wasn't the atmosphere wasn't for me, so I stopped. And I really didn't do any drumming after that until maybe about 20 years later or so. I started taking music lessons, and there was a rock band workshop at a local music school. And I did that for a couple of years. Like about once a quarter, we would have another band, and then, get a bunch of musicians and play a bunch of songs and then move on to another band. So that's where Christina and I met. And we started a previous band before this one.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it was interesting because this workshop would take musicians who, were at any skill level, had been in music for 2 weeks or 2 decades, and just kind of couldn't find bands, and just kind of threw us all together.
All different skill levels.
Interesting because, you might have somebody who'd been playing guitar for 50 years with somebody who'd been playing guitar for 3 months, and everybody just kind of had to make it work. So it was definitely a challenge. And so Greg and I had both been in other bands prior to that. He'd been in the workshop for a couple years, I guess, and I had only done one season, and I was ready to quit because the band I was in, the first one, there were some really great musicians, but it was just too difficult to figure out songs that you could play across all the skill levels. And it's sort of like it was too hard for the newer people. It was too easy for the more experienced people. So one of the guys in the band said, stay for one more round. And I said, okay, I'll stay if you can find me a second band that's got more experience, not to be snotty or anything like that. It's just, I feel like it's unfair to people who are brand new to an instrument to expect them to play with people who've been playing their whole lives. It doesn't make any sense. So they had somebody fall out, the singer for the band that Greg was in, and they put me in there. And that was how we met. That was about 6 years ago, I guess.
I mean, and I remember the night we started, and Christina was singing, and I was like, wow, we have a really good singer. And
my husband is biased, and I love him for it. But
score. That's what I was like.
Yeah. So, and then we basically, the band that we met through there, we left the workshop and just decided to go out on our own. Right. And we were in that band for about 3 years, and it was kind of on its way out anyway. And then the pandemic just was the final nail in the coffin. And so that was when, right at the end of 2020, we decided to start Vox and Stix. And, I said, it's just like me. I really wish, I miss making music, and I wish we could still be in a band somehow. And Greg was like, I think I could make it work to have us have a band online. And I was like, what? And he did it. And so that we've had this band now since, I think we first started rehearsing like January of 2021. So it's been about 2.5 years. So it was a very long answer to your question, Brian, but it was a very long story. So.
No, I'm going to say this is some good entertainment right here. That's for sure.
Oh, we cut out all the really entertaining parts, but yeah, that's the safe for work version of the story. So, but yeah, so that's, that's what we've been doing the last 2.5 years, and we've gone through a couple lineups now. We only have one other remaining original member, so right now it's Greg on drums. I do the vocals. We have Jeff, who's the other remaining original member, on lead guitar, and sometimes he sings. We have Frank, who's on rhythm guitar and vocals, and we have Brian on keys, and we have Chris on bass. And it's just there's such a stellar group of musicians and people.
They're really amazing musicians. I mean, they can play all sorts of stuff. All of them practice outside of rehearsals really well,
as God intended.
And you come to rehearsal and they know their stuff, and it's like, what used to take months to get a song down, now it just takes weeks, and it's amazing.
Yeah, we often say that we feel like we start on the first couple of takes of a new song where we thought we were finished in previous bands after months and months and months of working on them. So, and that's not to ding any of the bands that we've been in the past, but just it's you get a click with certain people. Yeah. And when everybody's on the same wavelength musically.
Even though we haven't met a couple of them in person, it still feels like they're family, and it's a real the environment is like, you feel really connected to them.
But yeah, you're right that we're unique, weird, whatever word you want to use for special. It as a musical entity. Yeah.
Yeah.